Merrin was backed by some influential conservative Christian groups. They say the vote for Stevens was a betrayal of Merrin, who they also note was spending time with his father in hospice before his death on December 29th. Baer heads up the Center for Christian Virtue, a conservative policy group that's backed the universal private school voucher bill, known as the Backpack Bill, as well as bills to ban trans athletes from competing in girls' sports and further restrictions on abortion. Here's part of our conversation. Representative Jay Edwards told my colleague Joe Ingles last week that Merrin did not reach out to the caucus after the vote where he was named Speaker-elect by the caucus. There was not unity, there was not division within the caucus. Is it fair to say that those who voted for Stevens betrayed Merrin? Because that's been the way we've been hearing the conversation.
You know, the bottom line is when you go into a caucus vote, you commit to, when you come out, whoever the caucus votes, you go with them. That didn't happen this time, and that's really concerning, especially because typically when you make a move like this, it's because something was traded away. And that's the thing that's not clear right now, that a lot of folks, myself, are concerned about, which was what was the cost of power? You know, what was traded away? Because if you look at Jason Stevens and Derek Merrin on their voting records, you'll see pretty similar voting records, right? They both have been pretty conservative throughout their tenure down here. So what was it that made Allison Russo and a number of very progressive, very liberal members go with Jason? What was traded away? That's not clear right now, and that's the things we're trying to find out.
Now, you even said yourself that Stevens is conservative, that he and Merrin had similar voting records, and Russo has even said, we know what we're getting here with Speaker Stevens. So what makes you think that, say, the universal voucher bill, the backpack bill that you just referenced, and you've pushed for, what makes you think that that bill is not going to go anywhere?
Oh, we don't think it's necessarily not going to go anywhere now. We're still very much optimistic. When you actually go and whip the members, count the members, there's still strong support for the backpack bill in the state house, right? So we're not saying any of these bills are necessarily dead as of right now. We're still very optimistic, but we just don't know what the cost was for what political move was just done. And that's what's, honestly, it's not even what people say right now. It's actions speak louder than words down here, right? Ultimately, somebody has to push red or green, and what's going to happen on that big board. And that's the question that's still out there.
And the same would be for the 60% constitutional amendment proposal. These were priorities. The Democrats said they were concerned about education. They were concerned about that amendment.
Oh, no, absolutely. And you take something like that, that's a huge deal for the state. You look at how we've gotten casino gambling. You look at how folks have tried to legalize drugs in the state. And you look at even the abortion issue and even things like minimum wage and taxation. There's tons of issues that our Constitution is up for sale right now. If you have enough money, you can collect signatures, and all you have to do is get to 50% to permanently amend our state Constitution. Was that traded away? Was the ability to protect our state Constitution from outside interests traded away in order for someone to get power? We don't know right now. It's going to be up to Jason Stevens and all his friends that are saying they didn't trade away these things to prove it, because right now words don't really line up with what we're seeing elsewhere.
Do you think Speaker Stevens should resign as Speaker, or do you think those who backed Merrin for Speaker should just move on?
I think ultimately members need to focus on the issues. That's the thing we are talking to everyone about, is drive the issues forward. You were elected here to do something, right? And so if you traded away these things so that you could get power, that's a major issue. And I think that'll actually get exposed pretty quickly, because at the end of the day, bills either move or they don't. And that's going to be the question for these folks. I think there is a huge loss of trust right now. Because of the way this went, when folks gave a commitment in a caucus vote that is going to resonate for a long time. And I think ultimately a lot of folks are concerned about what was the cost that you had to pay in order to get power.
You talk about people changing that vote that they committed to in caucus. Don't people get a chance to change their minds if they have experienced something, heard something, situations have changed?
Sure, but again, that's not the way typically the way things have operated down here, and not even just because folks aren't allowed to change their minds, but because you make a commitment to your colleagues about the way you're going to operate, and a commitment that's really based again around shared values. That's why you caucus together, is because you have shared values on issues, and when you break that trust, and it's not clear why it was broken. That's a real concern for a lot of folks. And again, especially when there's such major issues at stake. Because ultimately, with a move like this, if it's not clear what was traded away, the people that are winning are the people that are very much opposed to the values we care most about, right? That are very much pro-abortion or very much against the backpack bill. There are the folks that are are laughing at this right now, right? And when you have folks that have, when you have a state house that has a majority of conservatives, and you have these types of things happening that raise so many questions, it really is a real reason for concern.